Top of the morning. Here we go. We're live. You got the Aired Out podcast live from the ASB Financial Studios and Fly on the Wall Productions, North Main Street in Barrie. It is a Monday. Good Monday.
Good Monday.
Hello, Raylene. It's the 29th now, I think.
It is.
Inching closer and closer to September, and I just can't believe it's almost September, almost Labor Day weekend. Whew. Wow.
It
going by
definitely
fast.
went, super fast. And it seems like the last couple of weeks really have gone. It's like we got to the Heritage Festival,
Sure.
and then boom. It
Right.
seems like we've been on a race since.
And now we got the Tunbridge Fair that's on the horizon here. We got, which is always, the third weekend in September, traditionally, which is right in front of us. We're looking at a hot one today, 89 degrees. I'm so glad that I wore pants. What the hell was I thinking? I'm telling you, I didn't check the weather forecast this morning. And if I had, I would definitely be wearing my shorts. And not just my shorts, my shorty shorts.
For God's sakes.
I would, if I knew, if I had any idea. But it's going to be a hot one today. Mostly cloudy skies this morning. We have some fog that's been sitting. It's burning off. We've got pretty good amount of sunshine, but some clouds as well. But again, hot today.
And the humidity is supposed to roll in hardcore.
I'm seeing that as well.
Yeah.
Lily's all disappointed that the pool's not open. Asking me why, when it's so hot, why the pool is not open. And, I'm coming up with every answer that I can come up with. She just cannot conceptualize why all of the water was drained out of the Barrie City pool. She just doesn't understand.
That school started, and so that's it. And so now she has to go to Heather's. That's all. Daddy's going to have to take her to Heather's.
I don't know. Whatever. Tonight, we're looking at some clouds, maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm down around lows around 70. Wow. Don't take the air conditioner out of the window just yet.
No.
And then tomorrow, sun and clouds, a stray shower, thunderstorm possible. 91 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, showers, thunderstorms, and super humid.
91.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Speedo all
and
day.
remember, wasn't it last week that you were saying, we probably wouldn't see 80 again?
Yeah.
Well, you're right, honey. We're
Yes,
going from
right.
70 to 90.
Yeah, exactly.
You hit the nail on the head.
Oh, man. Well, what do you have in the news today? I know there's a few things here.
Yes, so there's no launch today for the rocket.
The rocket launch.
There is none. It was postponed due to engine trouble and a fuel leak. So at the earliest, Friday. But it may be into next month, which really isn't, when we say next month, it's really not as long away as it sounds. But
so this was a rocket that was supposed to go to the moon. Mm-hmm. This was the first lunar landing.
Correct.
Were we actually supposed to touch down and land on the moon?
I believe so.
In 51 years? 50 years? 51, 52, somewhere like that. There's a ton of conspiracy theorists that are saying, A, we never did land on the moon back in 1969 or 70. B, this whole fuel leak, engine trouble thing this morning, just smoke and mirrors. We were never planning on going up there today anyways. I'm saying that's what a lot of people are saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what I'm saying is that others are saying. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of.
All right.
I need more coffee.
All right.
To deal with you today,
I'm
obviously.
Sure. What else do you have? Anything else?
Yes. So in West Windsor, the Kenyan cyclist was killed this weekend during the dirt gravel race over the weekend. Sully is our captain, friend, and brother. He is also a father, husband, and son. Gaping holes are left, is what his teammates have said. So apparently high speed and the gravel road, and he's a cyclist, not no motorcycle, literal pedal. And they were here for a race in West Windsor, and he has crashed and passed.
Okay.
So that is very unfortunate.
It's too bad.
And then some local stuff really quick. We know that Tom will be with us on Wednesday to talk about the council meeting.
Yep.
Unlike what is being said, the flag request is not, I repeat, not on the agenda this week.
Yeah, I see here there's been quite a bit of chatter on Facebook and a few other platforms.
There has.
That the city is not going to allow the large flag to go up on 9/11.
So, unfortunately, the fact is the fire department this week, tomorrow, will be requesting to do something special at the fire department for 9/11 to honor all of the first responders and those that passed on that day. The Veterans Council has decided that the flag cannot fly, not the city council. The flag is tethered and cannot be respectfully flown and is being replaced. And then the other flag has been modified. That's why they didn't fly it before. They somebody wanted to rent a crane again and hang it themselves. That would be one thing. Or drape it over the wall like they did for September 11th last year. But that can't be hung because it has the patches and it's been modified. Yeah. So
can I read this from Michael Booten?
Yes, please.
It just says, he says, just so folks know, the city has two large flags. Both have been determined to be unusable.
Correct.
Due to modifications and or the shape of the flag. The judgment came from the Barrie Veterans Council. I had spoken to the VFW, and they are attempting to raise money to acquire a new flag. I informed them last week that if they provided a new flag in time, that I would gladly vote to raise it over Main Street. However, the plan is that I will be the acting mayor next week.
Right, which is tomorrow.
This is Michael Booten? So he says, so I am unable to make motions. Remember, catch the Barry B podcast on Monday nights, of course, at 8 o'clock, which is tonight. Yeah. Do we know who Booten has as a guest tonight? We don't, but we'll find out. Let's bring him up here right now. The man, the myth, the legend, one of my best friends, a man who has lost 1,000 pounds of body weight in the last 6 weeks. Chris Autry.
What's up, buddy?
You never know what kind of introduction I'm going to give you. How many pounds did you lose? 150?
180.
180?
180.
And you're still going?
Still going. Well, I not really meaning to. Actually, the doctor was like, it's time for you to build muscle. So I have made adjustments to my diet, and here we are.
So we've lost the weight. Now what are we doing here? Are we lifting weights? Are we?
Yep, full resistant weights. No free weights. Can't do the free weights with arthritis in your spine. So wow. building muscle is what I'm doing, man. Building muscle. Man, how are you doing?
Bro,
every time I come in here, man, this set gets better and better.
Do you like the new setup?
Bad. I do like the new setup, man.
Yeah.
I like the new. I can see what's behind me now.
Raylene gets all the credit for that. She's like, turn it sideways, and I said, no way. And then the second we did, I was like, I kind of like that.
Listen, you and I both know we're only successful because of smarter people around us. True?
Yes.
Yeah, we both know that.
Brother, I'm so happy to have you in here.
I'm glad to be here.
Raylene's watching some other news and some other stories and some things that are coming down the pipe here in Barrie. There's a lot going on, my man.
Yeah.
I dare to say there's almost too much going on. This is a time of the year where a lot of us are shifting. We're the kids are going back to school. We're stacking firewood. We're preparing for the winter. We're trying to button up the house. We've got so much funk all happening at the same time, and we're getting pulled and pushed in a million different directions. There's stuff going on the weekends. We got to say no to 9 things and yes to one thing, and it's just like, wow, man.
Yeah, for real. So what does that do for your family? How does your family work through all that stuff?
Not well. Is that a quick enough answer? I didn't even have to think about it. It's a lot. It's a lot, man. It's like, my 2 twin nephews, both 18 years old, are starting their first day of college, actual class time, right this very second, right now. It's like the very first, it's day 1 of class 1, professor 1.
And I know this is selfish, but that makes you and I feel old, right?
It does.
Yeah. My niece just started college about a week ago. And I'm like, you were in my arms this big. How did you go to college?
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know what's funny? And this is nothing that I ever say is something that I've got down pat, right?
Yeah.
So this is just purely me being vulnerable and honest. The older I get, well, in our younger days, we had this belief that we had to do more to be better.
Yeah.
Right. So in order to get approval from people, or we had to in order to be successful in any way, you had to do a lot of things, right? And so I would see high school students all the time, and they would play 3-4 sports a year, belong to 6-7 clubs, and then they have church, and they have to hold a job, and somehow they had to hold up grades, right? Well, the reality is they got that idea from their parents. Their parents think kind of the same kind of thinking, right? You and I both know as adults, that's kind of the rat race to our life, man. You get up in the morning at 5:30, you got to get lunch and breakfast made, you got to take a shower, you got to get all dolled up, you got to head out to work, and then all of a sudden, you're hustling, busting the door, you're screaming at your kids because you got to get them in the car, and they get them in the car, and they don't have their shoes, or they forgot this textbook, or they forgot this notebook, and then you finally get all that stuff, you get that in the car, and then now you're running late, right? So what are you doing? You're running stop signs and red lights, and you're cussing at people who are driving by, and you're flipping them off, and you're going a million miles an hour.
Coffee spills.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a coffee yet because
all
you
right.
forgot that. You got right because you got to stop in Dunkin' after you drop the kids off. By the way,
Long line at Dunkin'.
Long line, so you're ready. You're even angrier, right? And then they don't get your coffee right, and then you somehow get to work and you're running late, and you hopefully nobody notices you're running late. But just in case, you've thought of a million different lies in your head to tell that make it look like you have a valuable reason for being late, and then you're at work, and this thing doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. You've got your spouse texting, you got your parent, your kids calling you from school, you got this teacher texting you or emailing you because this kid forgot this or they're acting this way, and now you got to have a meeting about this, and all the while you're just trying to be productive at work.
Sure.
You get to the point you really don't care you're doing a great job. You just want to earn a paycheck.
Get through the day.
Right. And then you get home or you leave work and you got to get the kid to a doctor's appointment, then to practice, and then coaches like me put more weight on you to get
Nothing's prepared for dinner. Got to go to the grocery store now.
Right? And the grocery store is too much hard work. So you're swinging in McDonald's, or you're going to Subway, or you're finding fast food. And by the time you get home at 8 o'clock, kids don't have their homework done. People need showers. You're fighting. You're pulling your hair out. Like, you see, this is a normal day. I don't know. If you're driving by and you're listening, honk if that's your day, right? Like, that's a normal day. I tend to think that somewhere we have bought a lie from the devil that busier means better, that busier means successful, that busier means approval. And what I've realized is at 42, going to be 43 in a couple months, what I've realized is that how much of a lie that is, because I'm realizing I do a lot of things poorly and a few things very well. And this is against every kind of idea our culture has spread, especially, and I'm not trying to be a non-patriot here, but our American culture spreads a lie that busier means better.
Sure.
Right? And so I want you to know, Jesus, the Son of God, took moments where he got away from everybody. And if he had a cell phone, he would have left it at home. If he had a laptop, he would have left it at home. And he got away just to seek solitude and spend time with the Father. And if it was good for the Son of God, who is Lord of all, then that kind of thinking needs to be good for us. And I think one of the keys we need in these days is to de-busy ourselves. Start saying no to even good things so you can say yes to the right and the better things. Slow some things down. Have some days at home where you don't get out of your pajamas and you watch movies all day. Have some days where you say no to responsibilities and you enjoy the 92-degree weather. Have some days built in your life, man, where you can, because especially this time of year where we think we have to be busy, this is the time of year when you got kids going to school that you should slow down and take your kid out to lunch wherever they want to go and enjoy spending time with them. Man, if it was good for Jesus, it's got to be good for us.
You know what we all do, though? It seems like many of us that we may do that. We may tap the brakes and take a couple of hours or an afternoon or maybe a whole day.
Right.
But then there's a little voice crawling around in the head during that time.
Oh, gosh.
Saying, bro, you better make this up tomorrow.
Yeah.
You better get this. You better get caught up by Wednesday. Because that's fine that you're doing this now, but your plate is stacked higher for tomorrow.
You know what I've learned?
Then that creates the stress.
You know what I've learned? Like Vermont has helped change my life in this way. You know what I've learned? Is that number one, you can tell that voice to shut up. Right? Because it's really just you telling yourself that. You could tell that voice to shut up. And number two, the more that you slow your life down and you run at a better pace, the more silent that voice gets. Because what happens over time is you see that when you're focusing on the right things and not all these other good things, that number one, you'll see that investment in the right things, that they pay off, right? You see that you're spending all that time with your kids instead of all of your friends. I mean, you should spend time with your friends. You should go out to dinner once a month or so. But when you're investing yourself in your kids and you're investing yourself in your family and you're investing yourself in a few right things, you begin to see there's actually more growth. God brings a blessing to that and brings more growth that you've been wanting to see that you couldn't see before.
Yeah.
And that voice gets silent because you start seeing that, and that's what you want to live for.
Your book, Provided For, tell us about it. Take a sip, but do tell. The book is available on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
It's your first book that you've ever published?
It's my first book, yep.
Maybe possibly a second in the pipe?
I've got 2 more right now in the pipe, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a few years because I've taken time like this one and marinating on it.
Yeah.
And before I really spend a lot of time just putting pen to paper. I really didn't write this book to get rich. I wrote this book to make an impact. I wrote this book so that whoever bought it would know how they could see God at work in their life and begin to spot that for themselves. So my whole goal is I want you to see these stories that have happened in my life or as I've recorded about other people's lives, and I want you to see the same thing happening in yours. I want you to sit back for a moment and go, man, like I was hanging out with another dad the other day, and we were talking about our kids' maturity, and he had just been worried about the maturity of his son, and he said he had this one little moment where his son was having to deal with a relationship issue, and he wanted to talk to his son about it, that kind of thing. And as his son walked in the door and sat down, he said, "Dad, let me tell you what I'm thinking." And he mapped out this completely mature way of handling this relationship issue. And the dad was left stunned. And it was a moment where he had to sit back and go, man, all along, God has been at work in kind of maturing my son, even when I couldn't see it. And I want us to be able to see those moments in our everyday lives and begin to cherish them and let it build our faith and trust in the Lord that he is at work vibrantly and fully as we go through these seasons. And so I don't want us to take days trivial, right?
Yeah.
You might be running late to work right now, and the coffee line might have was too long, and you're frustrated and you're irritated about it. But you don't know if God had saved you from the car accident.
Sure, right.
You don't know. You don't know if the guy behind the counter needed you to be kind to him because everybody else in front had been a jerk to him.
Sure.
And they needed somebody to be kind to them to help get them through the day. You don't know that, but God is at work in all of those things. And so I just want you to see it.
You're such an inspiration. I mean, Raylene is like, she says, man, when Autry comes in here, damn, he just sets this place on fire, man. I mean, I'm going to miss you an awful lot, more than I could ever find words for. And I told Sherilyn driving in this morning, I said, I'm not even going to try to find the words to say how much I'm going to miss you. And, we were driving home from Rutland when we were talking with you on the phone. And we hung up with you after you told us the news that you're going to be leaving Vermont. And for a second, I said, man, I've lost a friend. And then I started thinking about my friend, a great friend of mine, Guy Babb, who lived in Rutland, went to college with him, was a great friend. And we just lost him this past winter to cancer. Colon cancer, which had metastasized into his brain. And I started thinking about that quietly. We're in the car, and I said to myself, that is a friend that you truly lost. But you have not lost Chris Autry. You have gained a friend.
For life.
For life. You're moving to another state. So I won't be able to see you, hug you, have coffee with you. But I've gained a great friend in you, my man. And I remember the first time I saw you, you were marching in a parade, and I didn't even know you. And you passed by me, and you were talking some smack, and
I interrupted the live feed.
You did, and we've been friends ever since. But so what's the deal? You're leaving Vermont for Southern ground, and I know that over the last couple of years, there's been somewhat of an epiphany that you've had where you've said, "Man, I just can't take the barbecue up here anymore. I gotta go. I gotta go." Is that what this is all about?
No, I first of all, man, I love you. You are not just a friend, but a brother, and I want to talk about that in a moment. But no, right at the beginning of COVID, we're going through COVID, and there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of thoughts, and I had pastor friends who are really optimistic, and the church is gonna be better than ever, and I kind of agreed with that, but at the exact same time, at the, like right around April, May, I remember just going, I don't know if I'm the leader. I don't know if I can lead us through the other side of this. And not because anything like bad was happening. In fact, there were a lot of good things that were happening. But we had already led Faith through a revitalization work all the way up until then. And I was just, I remember I was reading the Bible, and God was just, as I was just reading the Bible on my own, God just kept bringing up these two words, to believe me and obey. And I would have thought that meant for this season, but the hard part was I had 4 friends at the exact same time. They don't know each other. We did go to seminary together. All 4 of us did at the same time, but they don't know each other. They live in different places, and they all kept calling me for about a year saying, Chris, we don't know how to tell you this, but we've been praying. God's made very clear it's either time for you to make a transition or it's time for you to return to North Carolina. And I kept saying, no, we're not doing that. We love Vermont. This is where God's called us. We're not going anywhere. It's the middle of a pandemic. I'm not leaving my church. But at the same time, God kept telling me to believe and obey. And at the same time, I just really felt like, man, a season's coming where Faith needs a new leader to take them through a new season. And that went on and on and on and on. And then in February of this year, I was, again, reading my Bible. I was preparing for a sermon, and God made very clear to me, Chris, I'm going to take you to a place you don't know. You're going to be a blessing, and they're going to bless you, and I'm going to protect you. And I wrote in the corner of my Bible, to Vermont and beyond, because the South is not on my mind. I love New England. This has been our home. You guys have been our family. I tell people all the time, man, Vermont and Pennsylvania made us. I mean, it reshaped us. And we're just not ready to leave. We love it here. But God kept putting me in places and in front of people, and that over time, over and over again, it became clear it was time for us to move forward into a new season of ministry, and God was moving us to North Carolina. And like one conversation one day, we were meeting with a missionary from Africa, and all the while as we've been here, one of our goals is to build up leaders for the church. A church needs multiple leaders to be healthy. It doesn't need to rise and fall just on one guy. And so that's been our goal. And so we've done that for 6.5 years. And so back in May, a missionary from Africa looked straight me in the eye. Didn't know who I was. We'd only known each other for 12 hours. So looked me straight in the eye and said, man, when are you leaving Faith? And I said, man, what do you mean I'm leaving Faith? He's like, well, you've been there 6.5 years. That's too long. He's like, you've trained up people to hand that church over to take it over. What? When are you leaving? He said, if you stay longer, they're going to become centered around you. And that was a really, like, Becca and I both stopped dead in our tracks and we're like, how did you know that's what we were wrestling with? Well, the only reason he knew that is because the Lord told him. And so it was little things like that along the way. And we never wanted to go back south. It wasn't on the plan. But over time, God had just put us in contact with the church down south and looking for a pastor. And they've kind of gone through a bit of a rough time. And so the more we spent time with them, the more we saw that we're a fit. We're going to be about an hour from family in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We've never lived that close to family, not since I moved out of the house for college. So I have no idea what that's going to bring for us. Sam's excited to have grandparents that are going to be, closer. But it has been a journey. And I want to say, I know I'm talking long. I want to say this up front very clearly before I talk about our relationship a little bit. This has been home. I know Barry's got warts. Every city and town in America has warts. But Barry has been our home. And this community has been our family. And we cry a lot in these days of how much we're going to miss our faith family, our larger Barrie community, Central Vermont community family. Becca's going to miss the snow. I am not missing the snow. That's the truth be told.
Understand.
Letting y'all know. Becca's going to miss the snow. I'll miss the white Christmases, but we love Central Vermont. We love Barrie, and I am so beyond grateful for how this community has blessed us. And it really has been a blessing to us. We came to Barrie with a broken heart. We didn't want to leave Pittsburgh, and somehow, in some way, God used this community to heal our hearts. And we can never forget that.
What's going to happen with the Faith Community Church?
Well, they are very healthy. Very healthy. They're going, when we leave, they're going to have a brand new slate of leaders that they're going to be more leaders that we're leaving behind than we came in with. They're going to be really healthy. We've got a church planter who planted a church in Northfield. He's now planting in Williamstown. He's at our church. His name is Trey Cates. He is going to be the interim. He has served as an interim in churches before. He's going to be an interim for 3 weeks out of the month, and then they'll bring in other guys that we have either trained to preach or guys outside to come preach 1 week a month. And Trey is going to lead them really well. Our elders are in a great shape. So in Southern Baptist Life, we form what's called a search committee. That search committee will be formed, or the beginning process of making that committee starts on September 11th, the week before we leave. And then they are going to put a team together that's going to create a criteria of who they believe God has called to be the pastor of this church. They're going to take recommendations, and they're also going to work through our denomination to find another pastor. In the north, that happens really quickly, a lot quicker than down south. It takes 2 years to find a guy. Here, it takes like 6 months to a year, which I like. I like the fact Northerners that they find what they're looking for and they go get them. That's just the way it works. And so, it's going to be a really healthy time. There's going to be some new things happening at Faith in this interim process that are needed to happen. That are things that we know God wants to do, but God didn't want to use us to do them. And I'm really excited about those things. I'm really excited for the future of Faith Community. And I'm not just saying this like to blow smoke or optimism. This really is just a genuine, man, we're really, really excited. This new season of ministry is going to lead Faith forward. And they're going to be doing greater things than we've done in the past by God's power and His glory. We are not leaving here because we're seeking more money or a better opportunity. We're not leaving here because there's something bad happening. None of that's true. This is simply because God has pulled on our hearts. It's time for a new season. And so Faith is going to be in great shape. The community is going to continue to see Faith reach this community. Matter of fact, this weekend, because I coach with BYSA, we had a jamboree out in Moncton. I didn't even know we had a town named Moncton in Vermont. And the church got together without me and did an outreach, a back to school bash for Williamstown, and did a fantastic job. And so that's what we want. We want to see the church continue to move forward, and they will.
I was there in Williamstown, and
did you get barbecue?
I did.
That was not Vermont barbecue. That was made by a Southerner.
I had it.
Pretty decent.
It was amazing. Janet Richardson and Taylor and many other members of your church were there, working hard, and putting it together and making it happen. And Lily was there, had a great time, and there were several of them sitting underneath this tent. And I just walked into the tent and I looked at everyone. Pellegrini was one of them.
Yep.
And I looked at it. We just kind of all got eye contact at the same time.
Yeah.
And I looked at everyone and I said, Autry.
Yeah.
And everybody's, was like,
yeah.
Wow.
We are, there is this weird mixture of excitement and sadness in all of us, and we are we grieve leaving, but we're so excited about where God is sending us, and they're grieving that we're leaving, and they're so excited about where God is going to take them next.
On Saturday, I was driving my car with Lily, and we were maneuvering around an area that we were just trying to do like a K corner type thing, barely moving, and just trying to turn the car around. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this dude with a motorcycle just comes right up, like almost hits me, just pulls right up in front of my car so that I can't move another inch. Jerry Portress. And I rolled down my window and I said, he looked at me, I looked at him. We were quiet for a second, and I just said, Autry. And he said, we just kind of nodded our heads. He's going to miss you, bro.
I love Jerry Poitras. I love him. Jerry, last night at Hannaford's, Sam plays this game with me that we really shouldn't play in a store, but we kind of play hide and go seek in a grocery store. And I always catch him. Well, last night I couldn't find him, just because Jerry Poitras kept hiding him. He found Sam.
Portress was behind us.
Yep. Yeah, he's. By the way, we just want you to know, I guess today's the last show that I'll have. We were going to prank you.
Really?
Yes, that was the plan, but it's no longer the plan, because I told him, like, dude, you haven't seen each other, like, you gotta.
Right.
So just so you know, we had a scheme up our sleeves.
Do you want to reveal what the scheme was?
I can't tell you that, Jerry. Yeah, Jerry. I had a part in this, and Jerry had a part. I can't talk about it. I will say this. I know we're talking about sappy stuff. I don't want to be sappy. I've cried a lot. I'm going to cry a lot. We're going to cry a lot. Listen, now that this is the last show, it's finally time you and I spill the beans. Like, you and I need to tell the truth. The people need to know. We've been holding back. We've been honest. Well, we haven't been honest. We've been quiet. We've been humble about this. We didn't want people to know, but there's a deeper story to you and I. So we need to tell them, JD. You can't let this go any longer, bro. Now that I'm leaving, I got to tell it.
I love driving down the interstate with you, 100 miles an hour, blindfolded in the dark. I just love it. I love it.
So Barry needs to know. Barry, your listeners need to know that there was a movie made about us a long time ago. And it was a funny movie. It was a comedy, but it was in all actuality it was an autobiography, right? Come on, man. Bro, we got to tell them.
I'm blindfolded here.
We got to. You know what I'm talking. Raylene knows exactly what I'm talking about. That a long time ago there was a movie about how I was switched at birth, and we reconnected here in Vermont. That's why I came here 6.5 years ago, was to reconnect with my twin brother. So they filmed the movie Twins about us. And when we were younger, I was the Arnold Schwarzenegger character. You were the Danny DeVito. When we were younger, remember that? And then you were so embarrassed by the movie that we lost contact, and I forced us to get in a relationship. Like, we've healed some bonds and stuff, right? Come on, man. You know that's the truth.
We're going to get in trouble now because you've revealed this. There's going to be copyright.
No, the contract expired like a year ago, but
you were like,
we can't tell anybody. We can't tell anybody. Because remember, the big issue was we couldn't get royalties off the movie. That was the one thing, and you were mad with me about it, and I was like, it's not my fault. And then you were like, I don't want anything to do with you. So I came to Vermont, like, I'm going to reunite with my twin brother, and we're doing this.
Dude, there's, I love you, man. There's some things that I'm for lack of a better term, a little frustrated about that I haven't been able to do with you yet. One of them is Camels Hump.
Well, you broke my back coming down Spruce.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I told you were going to be crawling the next day.
For 3 weeks.
I just want to know, and on the record right now, because this is proof, and I'll go back and play this for you if I have to.
Okay.
Will you come back to Vermont?
I am going to come back to Vermont, and we're hoping to come back on vacation, and we're going to come back to help another church out.
That's question 1. Question 2, will you climb Camels Hump with me?
I will climb Camels Hump with you. I'm building strength.
Be careful.
I'm building strength. I literally couldn't walk for 3 weeks. I couldn't walk for 3 straight weeks. By the way, since you brought that up, did you tell them about how you almost got me thrown off the tower at Spruce?
No.
Yeah, you didn't tell them that. You didn't tell them that we got to Spruce. I'm walking up, and you and Sam are banging on the tower, making it shake, and I am losing every ounce of my Christianity. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you didn't tell them that.
There were parts where I almost felt like you were gonna drop some obscenities, but you.
I was close.
You held it in.
I took a selfie to keep myself from saying some stuff. You and Sam banging on it, making it shake and vibrate. Yeah, and you also didn't tell them about the snake that was drinking water.
Yes.
And you were like, look at the pretty. And I'm like, the snake needs to die. If there ever needs to be a forest fire, it needs to be right here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you're like, look at it makes it look like Sam is still drinking the water. And I'm like, no, JD, there's no such thing as a cute snake.
Now, down south, you got, what do you have down there for snakes?
All the
bad ones.
They're all bad.
You get the water moccasins?
Water moccasins, cottonmouths, copperheads, rattlesnakes.
And they'll be right in your backyard.
They all need to die. They all need to die. PETA, I don't care what PETA says. Every snake needs to die. They all need, every last one of them. Call them in. If you want to contest me, take a seat right here. I'll straighten you out. Now, they all need to die. No such thing as a good snake.
Usually, Southern folks are fair to say not afraid of snakes because they're so accustomed to them. They've grown up with snakes. It's a regular thing.
They all need to die.
They're in the backyard.
JD, there was a dude in Raleigh. And occasionally we watch our local news channel and just kind of keep up what's going on. And so we were watching the other day, and there was this kid in Raleigh who collected snakes. His parents didn't love him. That's what's wrong with the boy. And so he collects them. So he got one of the top 5 most venomous snakes in the world. It was some kind of like king stripe something rattlesnake from Africa. And he raised them. He got 3 of them and raised them. One of them got loose. In
JD. The neighborhood? In the house or outside of the house?
He thought it was a neighborhood and thought because it was winter it wouldn't survive. It got loose in the neighborhood. Like months later, a neighbor was like, there's a crazy looking snake on my porch. And do you know what this kid said? This kid, verbatim, you can go watch on WREL. The kid said, you know what the real shame of it was? It's not that the snake was loose in the neighborhood, but that it could have died in the cold. And I'm telling you, there was some stuff in me. Like that kid was present. I don't know. I've been arrested. I'd have been arrested because that snake needed to die. They all need to die. No such thing as a good snake. They all need to die. Every last one of them. Die.
Yeah.
Die. Let them all die. There's a reason why in the Bible,
yes,
the devil's described as a serpent. I'm just saying to you.
Thank you. I've said to Raylene, I've said this on the air before. I may have said it to you on the air. There's a country song about having a beer with Jesus. And if you could, what would you say? Would you say?
Why did you let the snakes live? Why did you let snakes live?
You could either say something to Jesus over that beer, or being a comment, or you could ask a question.
What?
And if you had, one question or 3 questions, what would the top 3 be? And one of the 3 for me, part of me was, wanted to be, why mosquitoes? What's the purpose of that?
That's a great question.
Jesus, explain to me. What do the mosquitoes provide? What good do they bring? Why did you help create them? But I think the snake has to trump the mosquito.
Oh my gosh.
Please.
Well, but listen though, you've been teaching your daughter to catch snakes. So you are a snake lover, right? This is
in my soul.
Like, yeah, in your soul. Like, this is the difference between us being brothers, right? Like, he is a snake lover. I am not a snake lover under any certain circumstance, right? I don't listen. Did I tell you what happened to me in Massachusetts?
No.
A few weeks ago, we were in Massachusetts. Sam and I were watching the NBA Finals on my computer. It was late, about 11:30, and Boston was getting beat. And so I'm like, Sam, let's just turn it off. Let's go to bed. I go to turn the computer off, and Sam looks back and goes, "Hey, Dad, there's a snake." And there was an AC vent unit in the wall right here, and a snake fell out. I ran. It was like nightmare kind of stuff. Just slithered right and just fell.
Wait a minute. Where was this?
This is in Massachusetts. Fell.
In your hotel room.
Yeah.
In your hotel room.
Fell. Yes. Yes. And I looked at Sam and ran and said, "Son, you're on your own." I was out.
Save yourself.
Yep, I was out the door.
I love you, but
You're on your own. You're on your own. I'm telling you. The reason why we have weapons of mass destruction is for snakes.
yeah, true.
telling you.
I've often said, if it was an alligator that was coming after Lily, I would run toward the danger.
Right?
Snakes it's a game changer. I'm going the other way. Lily, save yourself. I'm out of here. Yeah.
I have encountered alligators before. They're not too bad as long as you keep a distance from them.
So what did you do? Did you get a different hotel room?
No, we stayed in the same place. I went. Yep.
What?
Yep. First of all, Becca was in another room, so I rolled a towel up and crammed it on the door so she was protected. And then I threw a trash can at Sam and said, "Get him in the trash can."
Did he? What'd you do?
So I went across the way, got another guy to help me because I'm too mad. I couldn't find a broom, couldn't find anything to get it. So they got the snake underneath the trash can and slid it toward the door, and then pushed it out the door. And when they did, the snake wasn't underneath it. And I almost burnt the building down. I grabbed matches. I grabbed kerosene. It was on. I was over.
Where was it?
I was over. Well, when they had kicked it out, the snake flung out the door into the parking lot and was starting to slither away, but we couldn't see it. I'm telling you, I was almost on the news. I was almost calling you to bail me out. I was close. It was close. Boy, I'm telling you, I can't do snakes. So moving down south, that's a fear of mine. I got to go back to dealing with snakes.
When are you guys? When are you skipping town?
We leave the morning of the 20th. The movers come on the 19th. My last day at FCC is the 18th.
18th.
So please come to FCC on the 18th. We're going to do a barbecue after church, and they're going to do a send off for us. And the movers come on the 19th. We're going to move, clean the house, get it good and clean, and then leave early morning on the 20th.
All right. So just so you know, just so you're aware, and I haven't had a chance to tell you this, we have not told Lily that you're leaving.
Okay.
Here's the reason. We don't know how to.
Yeah.
The other day, when Jerry Portress almost drove his motorcycle up under the hood of my car, and we were talking about you, Portress said, I said, Autry, and he was like, yeah, I know, can you believe he's going? And I looked at Autry, and I was like, zip, boop, boop, and we finished our conversation. We drove on. 5 minutes of silence in my car. And then Lily says, Dad, where is Pastor Autry going? And I can't remember what I said, but I diverted the conversation. So at some point,
I think we just need to have dinner.
Okay.
I think that's what we need to do is have dinner before we go. I
Okay.
mean, that's what Mom would want us to do is have dinner before we go, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I think, seriously, though, let's have dinner before we go and talk to her about it.
She loves you, man. Like, legit.
Oh, my gosh.
She loves you.
I love Lily. Are you kidding me?
I mean, she's been to so many of your different camps and everything that you've had.
We took her to Montpelier July 3rd thing, and y'all had gave her some money, and, man, she was eager to spend it.
Ice cream.
She was eager to spend. Oh yeah, got ice cream and she said, "How much money do I have left?" And I was like, "Well, you got about $5 left, or something like that." And she's like, Can I get it? Can I get a tattoo for $5? And I was like, I'm a yes for that. I might even help pay for the other part of it and send you back, And Becca's like, no, you cannot with Lily.
Thank you, Becca.
I love the way she thinks, man.
Yeah.
I love Lily. I love the way she thinks.
Yeah.
She is a sweet girl. Y'all raising a good one.
Thank you, my man.
You're raising a good one. Just remember to tell her that football is not soccer.
Yes, I'm going to try to raise her the right way.
Just do that. Uncle Chris will come back and.
Sure.
Right.
I almost forgot to tell you, my nephews are beginning. I told you they're starting college today. Roger Williams in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm. Great school.
Yep. Carson, first day there, and my nephew Will, day number 1 right now at Michigan State.
Michigan State. You guys got to be proud.
We are.
Now, how did your brother handle the whole moving him up to Michigan State thing? Did he leave by himself, or did they take him?
He's there right now saying goodbye, giving final hugs, and could possibly be on the interstate out of town right now. Lansing, I think it is.
Yeah.
Heading home, which is going to take a couple days. They're going to come down through Pittsburgh, I think. So it'll be 2 days getting home to New England here, but freaking out. I mean, the football and everything. They're trying to explain to me, saying, "You don't know. You don't understand." Yeah, it's its own religion.
It is, especially in Michigan. Michigan and Ohio. We had a church one time when we were starting new churches that helped funded us, and they were in Columbus, Ohio. Huge, they hate Michigan State and Michigan. And I just thought one day I would, in the middle of my breakout session, I had about 40 people in a room. I said, I just want y'all to know we got a guy in our church who's from Michigan. He's a huge Michigan fan. Go Blue. I had people get up and walk out. And I was like, man, I'm kidding, kinda, but I'm just messing around. I'm not pulling for Michigan, but yeah, it's huge football country. They hate Michigan State. They hate Michigan, and they produce good football players. Man, is he going to play football?
No.
What's he going to study?
He's going to be smart. He's going to business school.
Wait, were you saying football players aren't smart?
I'm not saying that at all.
Is that what you're saying?
I wasn't implying that at all. No, I'm just saying he's going to
I'm telling Mom.
He's going to business school.
Telling Mom you said that about our nephew. Right. I'm telling her right now.
But he's telling me I got to go up and catch a football game and
yeah, you do.
Be part of that.
Yeah, you do. Hey, by the way, I want to know when. So he's your brother's having a sob fest right now.
Yes, right now.
Right.
Yes,
right.
very much.
So last year, this is Lily's second grade year?
Second grade.
Okay, so 2 years ago, you put her in kindergarten.
Yeah.
When you dropped her off, did you cry? Did you get emotional?
Are you kidding me? Of course I did. I did on first grade, and I did this morning.
Did you really?
Of course I did. Oh.
What did you do? Did you go get a coffee and just sit in your car and how did you?
I'm quiet. I just take it in. My eyes are cameras. They're just taking pictures and snapshotting them and saving them right in the soul.
So do you think that's how your brother's dealing with it? He's just
very much
quiet car ride home, or is he just
sobbing?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
So a few years ago, I made every September, Becca and I go on a pastor and wives retreat, and we fly up her parents. They come and stay and watch Sam and all. And so one year we couldn't fly them up. So they suggested we fly Sam to them.
Okay.
And I was not having it. Now, I had just come off like a week or two where I was like consoling these college parents, and I'm thinking, their kids, they're like, Mom, don't cry. I'm going to have the time of my life. We're going to have great. There's a little bit of pride in me about this. So I take Sam to the airport at 4 a.m.
Oh.
And only one parent was allowed to walk him to the gate. So I'm standing at security looking out the window at his plane and watching this stewardess take him across the tarmac onto the plane. and I'm a basket case.
Understand?
Like, we like cry, like the CSA's looking at me, and they're having to come over and like put their arm around me, and
Yeah.
I did not deal with it well.
Yes.
At all deal with it well.
Right.
And so I watched him get on the plane. I could see him in his seat. The lady gave him a Sprite immediately. Some stranger who's sitting next to him pulls up his iPad, and come to find out he let Sam watch Marvel movies, and Sam's sitting there watching Sam's having the time of his life, but his dad is on the ground
Losing it.
Oh, could not console me. It was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. It was awful. And to make matters worse, we bought Sam this little track phone, and I said, listen, I want you to call me when you get to, he had to go to Detroit first. So you call me when you land in Detroit. I want to be called when you board the plane to Raleigh, and I want to be called again when you get to Raleigh. Like as soon as you land, you call me. And so Sam, plane takes off. Becca has to come get me, and walk in the car. I'm wiping my face. Phone rings. Sam's calling me from the air. I'm like, son, you got to hang up this phone right now. Your daddy loves you so much, but you got to hang up this phone right now. And I had to hang up, and he's crying, and I'm crying. I was a mess. I am not looking forward to the day. A part of me is like, I talk a big game. Like when he turns 18, son, you got to go somewhere, graduate high school. It's time to go to college, go to trade school, go to military. One of those three options you got to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. You got to do. But there's a short window. You got to get up out of this house.
Yes.
But in reality, I'm a sobbing mess.
We both have it the similarity that we both have only one kid.
Yeah.
So we can't say that the second was easier, because this is it.
This is it.
We have one opportunity.
This is it. It's funny, the similarities. We are emotional. We have one kid. I think we really do have some DNA. That
we might.
Share.
Have you, even as a pastor, and I always wonder this about you, about all pastors, I understand everything, but I also understand that you're a human being just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
How mad can Chris Autry get? How can he be just like everybody else? And if Sam or Becca or something happens, can you throw a stapler? How mad do you get?
Well, I will say it depends. So I can take a lot. If you come up to me and you're mad with me for a legitimate reason, like I did something that made you angry, or if you came up to me and you spoke to me out of frustration, maybe you're having a bad day, and I can take it. I can usually take it. I can kind of see through some stuff, and I could take it. If you come up to me and you're disrespectful to me or my wife or my son, I'm gonna push back real hard, and I'm gonna probably make you cry. I'm not gonna take disrespect. I'm just not. So if you come up to me and you're bad mouthing me and you're calling me all kind of names, I might give you a warning. I'm gonna be like, "Are you meaning to hurt me? Are you mean?" Like I'll ask that. "Are you meaning to hurt me?" Because really, see, even then, they might be having a bad day. And I'm like, but I'm going to let you know what you're saying is hurtful. And I want to make sure you know what you're saying. And if you continue and you tell me that's what you're intending to do, then I get defensive. But I usually try to give a gracious runway, because I recognize I have bad days. Some people have bad days. And now, have I ever gotten angry enough to throw a stapler? Not a stapler. I've thrown other things. What I've done is I've gone to the backyard and thrown a rock or something, or I've gone to hit a golf ball really hard, or I've gone to the gym to get an extra hard workout, or I've gone to take a walk. Like I'll do those things. If I'm stressed, that's also my remedy is I'll go to the gym or I'll go take a walk. But it takes a lot to get me to that kind of place.
Is it difficult though to try and say to yourself, Chris, You're a man of God. You're a pastor. You have to keep it within these parameters because I'll break those parameters all the time.
I think that's an unhealthy way to deal with things. I think the healthy way to deal with things is to be honest about it. I tell churches all the time, you don't have to gossip about my sinfulness. I'll just tell you what my sinfulness is, because it's healthier to get things out and to say it and to admit it, to own it, right? And so rather than to try to conform to a box that I never can, the more I try to live in those kind of situations, the worse I get. I can't do that.
Interesting.
So it makes me unhealthy.
Because the box of not
Right.
dropping F-bombs, I can't live in that box.
Right.
I just can't.
I think the Lord can give you self-control. I think the Lord can give you, because that's part of his nature. The Bible says is that you have self-control. I think he can give you self-control. So, I had a moment of a few days ago where I could have and should have cussed, but I didn't. And I was quick to go, "Hey, Becca, did you notice what I didn't do?" Because but I think the Lord gives you victory, but I also think you've got to, as he gives you freedom from that, you got to own that that's happens. Those things are going to happen where you get stressed, you get angry, you get frustrated. I have been angry enough that I've also been angry enough that under self-control, in my anger, I have looked at somebody and said, we can't continue in a relationship anymore. This is not healthy, and I'm not going to do this anymore. And I think that's a healthy way to deal with things. I don't think the healthy way to deal with things is try to live up to somebody's expectations, because you'll never live up to them. I think the healthy way to do it is to own it, admit it, and let the Lord change your heart. And you'll see how the Lord's changing your heart when all of a sudden you get back in that scenario and you don't deal with it the same way you dealt with it before. Maybe you're not dropping the F-bomb that you dropped before. That's how you know the Lord is changing your heart.
See, I think what we're talking about right now is amazing to hear. And this is part of the reason why I would love, and you know this, for you to start your own podcast, because I think an awful lot can be said by Chris Autry away from the pulpit. And are you going to start a podcast down south? In time.
So you are the main one. You and Becca are the main ones that are telling me to do this. I've had others mention it to me. I probably am, just not right off the bat. I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I have no idea with all this stuff, like what to do. I know how a camera works and a microphone works, but I don't know how to record. I don't know how to live stream. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And I don't have equipment for that. Mm-hmm. So I've been pricing it. I've been thinking about it, and I think something's necessary. What I would love to do is not just have those conversations, but I would also love to be able to tell the stories of how God's at work in people's lives. That's what I really want to do. And
you've got some friends down south that are watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Matter of fact, the church that has called us has been watching you. And so they,
oh boy.
Yeah, they love the program. I know. So you can't drop F-bombs, right? You gotta, they might listen after they hear my whole spiel on snakes. They're going to probably be like, he can't come. We can't stay up there in Vermont. You can't come.
So you're leaving soon. You're packing up, and you're pulling out of town.
Yeah. This is
tremendous.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough moment, I think.
It is
for the three of you.
It is. We are, like I said, we're a range of emotions. We cry a lot. We laugh a lot. We hug a lot. We're excited about a lot of things. I have never owned a house. I bought a house. I closed on the 22nd.
Yes.
This church that we're going to is very similar to Faith, a very loving congregation. When we were there, I was shaking hands. They were like, "Nope, that's not what we do here. We hug. We hug." They want to reach their community and in similar ways that we've done here, and so they're excited about us kind of coming there and giving some new vision to things. We're excited about the community as a whole. It's 5 minutes outside of Fayetteville, and it is right on 95. It's a growing area with great schools. There's a lot that we're really, really excited about. I haven't had a secretary in 10 years. And when the last time I had a secretary, she didn't do much. She sat in the office and watched videos. That was what she did.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have, because I have been it all here. I'm excited about having a secretary, a student pastor. I'm excited about having a staff that we can lead, a music minister,
and all churches, fair to say, have taken a hit as a result of COVID.
All ours did. Everybody's has.
Everyone.
Yep.
This church is a big church. We're talking 400, 500 people.
Yep. And they took a hit during COVID.
400 to 500 people in the church.
Right.
On a Sunday morning.
Well, that on a Sunday, part of their hit is they lost people, a lot of death. And then the normal stuff, people left for COVID. It's easier to stay at home and do church, which is not a great way to do church. That's not healthy. That's not the way the church was created.
That's right.
And so they're running around 150, 200, somewhere in that ballpark. And on a Sunday, which is a drastic change from where they used to be. But every church has gone through this during COVID. You know what I mean? Every church Faith went through it. We were running 180 or so, ballparkish maybe. And now we're running between 80 and 100 somewhere on a Sunday morning. It is, every church is going through that and has gone through that. And if a pastor tells you otherwise, they're not telling you the truth because COVID really did a number on our congregations.
What are you hoping to? What's your strategy to go down there? And it's not like you can sprinkle the magic dust on the church, and all of a sudden you got 300 or 400 people sitting in the congregation. What are you hoping to do in time? Do you have like a 6-month goal, or how are you going to get people to come back to?
Well,
this church,
our first 8 months to a year. Our plan is to spend time with people. I want to get to know them. They want to get to know us. So we're going to have a lot of people at our house. We're going to go to a lot of people's homes. We want to build relationships in the church and then in the community. So I've already started creating relationships with coaches that are down there. And so we want to spend a lot of time getting to know people, getting to know the community, asking dumb questions. I think a good leader in any capacity under any leadership has to ask dumb questions. The questions that everyone else knows but you don't know. Or the question that everyone else knows or think they know, but the question needs to be asked to make sure we all know the answer to it. So I'm going to ask a lot of dumb questions. I'm going to ask questions like, how long have you lived in this neighborhood? Questions like, what do you like most about living here? Questions like, how long have you been married? Tell me about the time you met. We're going to ask lots of dumb questions, but we're also going to ask them about the community itself. We want to know a lot about the community. Like, what makes it a special place to you? Why is it that you would never move away from here? We want to ask a lot of dumb questions. The other thing I'm hoping to do is to bring about some cultural change in the very beginning. So COVID burned a lot of us out. And as a pastor, you always think of different ways to reach people, but it burned a lot of us out because every day there was a different change and we had to adjust to it. I have not made a lot of hospital visits since COVID, and it's because even today, I'll get weird feedback from the hospital about if I can visit and if I can't visit, and if I do visit, what does it look like? And so people have had surgeries and all kinds of stuff, and it is frustrating. It's frustrating because on one day I can go to CVH, next day I can't go to CVH. Mm-hmm. It's still like that today. And so some surgeons are okay with a pastor coming in to pray, whether before everybody was okay with it. Now some are not, and so it depends on the surgeon. It's frustrating. And so I want to bring some cultural change to the staff. I want to bring kind of a slower pace. I want to them and hopefully love them and encourage them, build relationships with them first. and hopefully in this time, try to put some wind in our sails. Let the Lord kind of give us some encouragement. I don't want to take what we've learned here in Vermont and forget it. Becca and I are different now in the best possible way, and I think God wants us to help lead leaders in that way. In Vermont, man, at 2:00 in the afternoon, I can go to the lake and go swimming. Doesn't matter what's going on, right? Like, I want to bring that kind of mentality to our church family, because that's where ministry happens. And I think some of it's there, but also there's just a lot of burnout. There's a lot of exhaustion. So we want to kind of build a culture where we're kind of restoring, renourishing, and build a different leadership culture than what was there before. They had a leadership culture where the pastor demanded everything, and he's a great guy. I've never talked to him, but I've heard a lot of good things about him. But I'm a different leader. I'm a leader that wants to build leaders, because I think a church is healthier with a larger group of leaders than just one or two. So I want to spend time going ahead and building leaders. In about a year, we're going to go through a revisioning process. And that's a deliberate process where we match demographic data with what we see in the community. We help our church to leverage what we have and who we are with trying to reach our community in significant ways. We went through some of that process here, and it was a lot easier and a lot quicker to join in Barrie than sometimes it could be down south. And so, but our people are ready and they're excited for that. And so we're really excited to join them on this new mission. But man, is it hard leaving behind family here.
And you said Trey Cates is going to be taking the wheel.
Yeah. As an interim. He's not permanent.
Yeah.
He's going to be there in the interim process to lead and guide. And we've got 4 elders, he's one of them, that are going to provide that leadership as well.
I hope Go Week continues. I hope the things that you have brought to Central Vermont, far outside of the walls of FCC, for what you've done in this community, for members of your church and non-members of your church. I hope these camps and these Go Weeks and these food drives and clothing drives and activities and interaction with children mostly, I hope all of that continues.
FCC, I feel confident that they will continue, and they will go farther and better in the next season with those ministries than we were able to do in this last.
Please let the powers that be know where the microphones are.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything that's good in our community, Raylene and I look to promote.
Okay.
We love that more than anything. So, anyway.
Well, thank you to Vermont for being our home. Thank you to you guys for being our family. We don't have any family here, but we have never lacked for having family. Yeah. And that's what makes this place, Barrie and Central Vermont, just such a special place.
I'll tell you, when you became part of my family was soon after I had met you, and we weren't really even, I wouldn't even call us friends at that point. My mom was dying, and I was broken. I was really broken. And
your mom was beautiful. She was beautiful in every way.
You showed up at the hospital really as a more or less a stranger. And I needed something, and you were right there. I'll never forget it.
Always, brother. Always. Always. Listen, I can't deal with man to tears, man. I know, but always. It's always going to be like that. Even though I'm down south, And when you're going down 95, you got a place to stay and a place to use the bathroom and a place to hang out.
As long as there's some Southern barbecue on the table, I'll be there.
You know what we never did? We never did the breakfast episode.
I know we didn't.
We never did the breakfast episode, so.
If I come down there, things will happen.
Yeah.
I love you, pal.
I love you too, man.
Chris Autry this morning, this time around on Aired Out. Live from the ASB Financial Studios and Fly on the Wall Productions, Main Street, Barrie. Love you, pal.
Love you.